Hi, welcome. This is a short horror story I wrote inspired by a chilling urban legend from Japan. The plot is about a group of girls dares one another to summon Hanako-san in the infamous fourth stall of their school's bathroom. They all play it off as a joke until one girl vanishes after locking herself in the stall, leaving behind nothing but scratch marks on the door. Curious about the plot twist? Welcome to the Urban Myth Podcast, Episode 4. Hanako-san, the fourth stall, scary school story in Japanese urban legend. Chapter 1, The Dare. The girls huddled together in the corner of the bathroom, the fluorescent lights above flickering with an unsettling buzz. It was always this stall, the fourth one at the far end, that they whispered about. For years, stories circulated about Hanako-san, the ghost that lived in the depths of that stall, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to call her name. "Come on, it's just a story," Lena said, her voice wavering, but the others could tell she was trying to convince herself more than them. "There's no way anything's gonna happen." Kayla, always the boldest of the group, smirked and leaned against the sink. "You scared?" she teased, nudging Lena with her elbow. "Bet you won't last 5 seconds in there." Maya, quieter than the rest, shuffled nervously but said nothing. The fourth stall loomed like a silent challenge, and none of them were willing to back down. "It's just a joke, right?" Maya whispered. "Exactly," Kayla said, more confident now. "Nothing to it." They all exchanged nervous glances. Kayla stepped forward, eyes gleaming with both excitement and fear. "Let's summon her." One by one, they dared each other to repeat the name. Hanako-san, Hanako-san, Hanako-san. A chill crept through the bathroom, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Lena approached the fourth stall, hand shaking as she reached for the handle. The others held back, waiting. Lena stepped inside, locked the door, and everything fell silent. A minute passed, 2, and then nothing. Chapter 2, The Vanishing. "Lena?" Kayla's voice broke the silence, though it sounded smaller than she intended. She stepped toward the fourth stall, but something in the air felt wrong. The lights above flickered again, casting long, eerie shadows across the tiled floor. Maya shifted nervously from foot to foot, her fingers fidgeting with her sleeve. "Maybe she's messing with us," she said, her words lacking conviction. Kayla knocked on the stall door. "Lena, quit fooling around, this isn't funny." But there was no answer, just the low hum of the bathroom's old ventilation system. Kayla's bravado began to wane. She glanced at the others, and for the first time there was genuine fear in her eyes. She pounded harder on the door. "Lena, open up." Silence. With a burst of frustration, Kayla yanked the door handle, but it didn't budge. "It's locked," she muttered, pushing against it. "How can it be locked from the inside?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kayla took a step back, staring at the door as if it might answer. "We need to get her out of there," she said, more to herself than the others. Suddenly, the door swung open with a loud creak. They all froze, breath caught in their throats. Kayla took a hesitant step forward and peered inside. The stall was empty. No Lena, no sign of her. Something caught Maya's eye, long, jagged scratches carved into the inside of the door. "What the?" Kayla's voice trembled. Maya backed away, the pit in her stomach growing. "Where's Lena?" she whispered. The girls exchanged terrified glances, and an unspoken realization crept into the room. Lena was gone. Gone without a trace, except for those scratches. Chapter 3, The Haunting Begins. After that day, school didn't feel the same. Lena's disappearance was whispered about in hallways and classrooms, but the girls knew the truth, or at least part of it. They hadn't told anyone about the fourth stall or the strange, jagged scratches on the door. Who would believe them? Kayla tried to shake it off, acting tough like always, but Maya could see the cracks forming. They all could. Lena wasn't just missing, as the school reported. She was gone, like she had never existed at all. Do you think we should tell someone? Maya asked, hesitant. She and Kayla were walking home after school, the shadows growing long in the late afternoon. Tell them what? Kayla snapped. That we dared her to summon a ghost in a bathroom stall and now she's vanished will sound insane, Maya. Maya looked down, her stomach churning, but something happened. We can't just pretend it didn't. Before Kayla could respond, a loud, scraping sound echoed behind them. Both girls spun around, eyes wide, but the sidewalk was empty. The houses and trees stood still in the fading light. What was that? Maya whispered, her heart racing. Kayla shook her head. I don't know, probably just a dog or something. They quickened their pace, but the eerie feeling followed them all the way home. That night, Maya couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. Every shadow in her room seemed to crawl toward her. Every reflection in the mirror felt just slightly wrong. Then, in the faint moonlight, she saw it, scratch marks. Deep, jagged lines clawed into the glass of her window. Her breath hitched as a low whisper filled the room. Hanako-san. Chapter 4. The Second Disappearance. Maya didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those scratches on the window, heard the whisper in the darkness. By morning, she was pale and jittery, her mind spinning with possibilities. Kayla had to believe her now. It wasn't just the fourth stall, it was everywhere. Kayla, I saw something last night, Maya whispered as they sat in the corner of the cafeteria. Kayla had been quiet all day, barely eating, barely looking up. There were scratches on my window. Kayla shot her a glance but said nothing. The silence between them stretched, heavy and uncomfortable. We can't keep pretending this isn't real, Maya pressed. Lena's gone, and now I think she's coming for us. Kayla's hands shook as she gripped her tray. You think I don't know that? You think I haven't noticed the mirrors at home? She glanced around to make sure no one was listening before she lowered her voice. She's in them, Maya. Every time I turn away, I see her reflection. Maya's skin crawled. She wanted to run, to scream, but there was no escaping this. We need to go back to the bathroom, she said, her voice barely a whisper. We need to stop this. Kayla hesitated, fear flashing across her face, but then she nodded slowly. After school, we'll end it. By the time the final bell rang, the tension was unbearable. They crept back into the bathroom, hearts pounding. The fourth stall was waiting, door ajar. It looked the same, but everything felt wrong. Lena, Kayla called, stepping forward, her voice cracking. Without warning, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Maya screamed, rushing toward it, pulling on the handle. Kayla! Kayla! Silence. She yanked the door open, and like before, there was nothing inside. Just the empty stall, and fresh scratches, deeper this time, gouged into the door. Kayla was gone. Chapter 5. The Final Girl. Maya's world unraveled in the days that followed. Kayla had disappeared just like Lena, leaving Maya alone with the truth. The school called it another missing person case, but no one knew what had really happened. No one except Maya. Her home was no refuge either. The hauntings grew worse. Scratches appeared not only on her windows, but on her walls, her closet door, even the mirror in the bathroom. Each time she caught a glimpse of her reflection, she swore she saw something behind her, something small, shadowy, and waiting. She could hardly eat, sleep, or think. Every noise, every creak of the floorboards set her heart racing. She stopped leaving the house, terrified of what might be lurking outside, or worse, inside. Hanako-san wasn't just in the school anymore. She was everywhere, and she wasn't done. The day the final message appeared, Maya knew there was no escape. Carved into her bedroom wall in the same jagged scratches that haunted her every waking moment was a single word: tomorrow. She tried to stay awake that night, heart hammering in her chest. The clock ticked endlessly, her eyes darting between the shadows. But eventually, exhaustion claimed her, and when she woke, the room was deathly silent. She bolted upright, only to find her reflection staring back at her from the mirror. But it wasn't her face, it was Kayla's, her eyes wide with terror, whispering something too faint to hear. Maya knew what she had to do. She returned to the school that evening, fear coursing through her veins. The halls were deserted, the fading light casting long, sinister shadows. She made her way to the bathroom, each step feeling heavier than the last. The fourth stall was waiting for her, just as it had been the last time. The door was closed now, but Maya didn't hesitate. She reached for the handle, pushed it open, and stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind her, and for the first time, Maya understood. She wasn't going to leave, just like Lena, just like Kayla. The fourth stall wasn't a place you escaped from. It was where you stayed. Chapter 6. The Fourth Stall. Maya stood frozen in the darkness of the stall. The air felt thick, like she was trapped underwater, every breath a struggle. Her fingers brushed the cold, scratched-up walls, and she knew what was coming. Whispers floated around her, faint at first, then growing louder. Lena, Kayla. Their voices were there, calling her name, distant but unmistakable. Maya's chest tightened. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. Suddenly the temperature dropped, an icy chill creeping over her skin. Her breath turned to mist in the still air. Maya wanted to scream, to claw her way out of the stall, but her legs felt like lead, her throat seized with terror. The scratches on the door seemed to pulse, glowing faintly in the dark. A figure appeared in the mirror on the door. It wasn't her own reflection. It was Hanako-san, small, shadowy, with eyes blacker than anything Maya had ever seen. The ghost stood there, silent, watching her with an unnerving stillness. Maya blinked, and in that instant Hanako-san wasn't in the mirror anymore. She was standing in the stall, inches away. The whispers stopped. Maya's heart pounded, her body trembling as Hanako-san slowly raised a hand. Maya shut her eyes, waiting for the inevitable. The end she knew had been coming all along, but instead of a touch, there was a sound, a soft metallic click. The stall door unlocked. Maya's eyes snapped open. Hanako-san was gone, the stall door now slightly ajar, light spilling in from the bathroom. Her breath quickened. Was it a trick? A final cruel game? She stepped forward, barely daring to hope. The door swung open wider, revealing the empty bathroom beyond. For a brief moment, Maya believed she had escaped, that somehow against all odds she was free. But then she saw the scratches, deep, fresh, and carved into the mirror. You belong to me now. Maya's reflection smiled, a slow, eerie grin that wasn't her own. And as she stepped out of the stall, she felt it. Something dark, something cold, had followed her. It clung to her shadow, her every movement. No one would notice, no one would know, but Maya knew. The curse of the fourth stall wasn't confined to the bathroom. It followed you wherever you went, waiting to claim you when you least expected it, and Maya was only the beginning.